Welcome and thank you for tuning in to Build and Breathe. This is a podcast that is meant to really help you improve your professional life as well as your life outside of your professional career.
I'm Cory Silva. I'm a girl dad, founder of a custom software agency, and a former athlete trying to figure out my fitness journey, here to explore the grind, the growth, and the game of building business and life at the same time.
And my name is Nik Andrews, also an entrepreneur, fitness expert that is published both in radio and TV, and an actor. I am currently building the most comprehensive and value-packed corporate wellness product on the market. Thanks for tuning in, and welcome to Build and Breathe.
We're back with another week of Build and Breathe. This is the first segment, Optimize a Trend. So I love this segment already because last week we talked about AI as a fitness coach. This week we are posing the question, why is everyone talking about creatine? And it's such a great question because, well, one, I don't take creatine right now. It's been a very long time since I've taken creatine. And to me, it's actually, this is something you brought up, but to me, it's an old trend. It was really big when it initially came out, but from what I'm hearing now is like it's also becoming very big again because creatine's been around for a very long time. I used to take it frequently. I truthfully don't even know what kind of benefits it was providing me. It was just part of my supplement stack of things that I was taking. And so when I was like 14, 15, 16 years old, I was just like protein, creatine, pre-workout, like protein.
Dump this in,
creatine.
dump that in.
Yeah, just
mix and mash.
Just everything. It was just
right.
Absolutely crazy. So I'm curious from your end, like, what are you hearing about why is everyone talking about creatine? Again?
Okay. All right. This is a fun topic. Let's start off with the fact that they are now making creatine gummies, and that is the innovation to me. That is like delicious gummies in the form of, and they carry creatine and like a substantial amount of creatine.
Oh my God.
Creatine is the most researched supplement on the planet, and that is a fact. It has mountains of university-backed research behind it. It is very safe. It is linked to amino acids. It is definitely something that enhances your performance. It has been popular since about the 70s when monohydrate came out, basically. There are better, more refined formulas out there, but monohydrate is the most common one. Creatine is an interesting thing that has found a resurgence, and the thing that I find fascinating is that this resurgence came about from women, where, like, say, when we were in high school, guys would be talking about creatine and girls would be terrified of it. And this is actually the most common question I get asked from women. Guys never ask about creatine, either because they know everything they need to, or they don't know anything. There's no in between. The popularity of creatine in terms of the current situation and circumstance is that somehow, somewhere, people started talking about the benefits to your muscle tissue and muscle repair and to brain health and hydration of it. What does creatine do? Creatine essentially allows your body to hold more water and pull more water into your muscle fibers in the stores of your muscle fibers. The function of that is that you get a more hydrated muscle, which means that you are able to push a little bit more weight or performance or just power out of your lifts. The reason it was a terrifying thing back in the day was because and this is among guys too, guys and girls were terrified of taking it and looking bloated, i.e. bulky.
Yeah.
And it's logical to think that may happen because the function of creatine is to pull more water in. But in practice and actuality, it's not you're going to go into like Michelin Man right away, right? Like we're talking about a very, very fractional amount. That said, it is also considered one of the most effective supplements on the planet. So I don't take creatine. I used to take it regularly, maybe for a year, maybe for two. It was stacked with protein. There was a time where I mixed creatine into my pre-workout. Two different functions. If you take it after your workout, it helps rehydrate your muscles, so it pushes you into recovery a little bit faster and a little sooner, calms your nervous system down. It refills the glycogen stores, or it helps refill some of the glycogen stores in your body, and then it pushes it into recovery. Mixed with a little bit of carbs. You should have a little bit of carbs with it too. If you have it prior to your workout, it hydrates your muscles such that when you work out, your muscles are better fueled for the performance at hand.
Hmm.
Creatine has never been shown to show performance enhancement in like long-term cardiovascular activity. So if you're going for a run, creatine won't serve you. Creatine is better for short explosive movements. So there's an argument that could be made that creatine could help with sprints, but it
Right.
wouldn't help with a 2 mile, 3 mile, 4 mile, 5 mile run. Likewise, would creatine help with boxing? Maybe, because there's some explosive movements, but it's such an endurance specific sport. The idea is you'd probably burn through whatever creatine benefits gave you very quickly. But if you were
Yeah.
doing a deadlift session, you could better utilize creatine is that store that creatine has provided for you. That's sort of the hype with it. Now, the other thing is like the side effects of that hydration property is showing signs of better cognitive function, slightly more regulated like hormonal health. I've seen like some things where like creatine is apparently helping with hair and skin.
Interesting.
I think it maybe could. Again, it's a hydration property, right? So, and it's an amino acid. So, like, amino acids are the building blocks of like organ tissue and skin and nails. And so it is linked. How much? I don't know.
Hmm.
I'm not a cosmetic based person, so I don't know how much of that it helps. My hunch would be that things like collagen would probably be a little bit more effective in that. But
Sure.
why not take creatine for all of the effects? Like if you think of it as like a suite of benefits that you get, right? There's
Yeah.
no problem with that. Um,
How should people be taking creatine, you think? Because like last time we were kind of talking about like, the median person, right? So let's
mhm,
just like let's
mhm,
stick with that
mhm.
a little bit, right? At the median person. And you're saying that like you're hearing it from a lot of women, asking about creatine, wanting to take creatine, like how should we be taking it? Because you just talked about like taking it before workout, taking it after workout for different
Yeah,
types of workouts, but like just median person, like should they be taking creatine? Like when should they be taking it?
yeah, dude, thanks for grounding that. So the most important thing with creatine is that it needs to build up in your body. So that hydration needs to be regular and it needs to build up within your body. So whenever
Cool.
you commit to a creatine intake, it should be a daily occurrence. It should be the same as like your multivitamin intake or something like that. The
Hmm.
timing of it can be optimized, like I said. So post workout can help with recovery a little more. Pre workout can help it a little bit with performance. That kind of sort of becomes a little bit of a personal preference of what you want out of it. But within a 24-hour period, you should have that 5 grams of creatine every day, 7 days a week
Right.
to allow that supplement to help you. Again, similar to sort of a multivitamin. If you stop taking it, nothing drastic will happen. You will feel a little bit of a drop off of performance. I have felt that too. Like when I used to take it very regularly, and then when you hop off it, you just feel a tiny bit more tired a little bit sooner, is how
Yeah.
I would describe it. It's similar to if you take multivitamins very regularly and then you hop off it, you just kind of feel a little bit sluggish,
Right.
until that becomes sort of the new norm and you kind of re-regulate yourself, right? That's all it is. That's all
Cool.
it is. Regularity is the main thing.
Cool. And like maybe last point on like creatine for everyone, it's like I kind of mentioned at the beginning, like I used to take it a lot when I was younger for, maybe a 2 to 3 year period.
Yeah.
I haven't taken it since. Not something that I've purchased in a very, very long time. You were mentioning that they're doing some interesting stuff with it now, like making gummies and all this
Gummies. Yeah.
stuff. Have you tried any of those?
No, it's on my list. There's like there's this liquidation store where I live that
Okay.
does like they basically take overstock of anything that didn't sell much and then
Gotcha.
sell it at a fraction of the price. And they currently have creatine monohydrate gummies. I think they're like Sour Patch ones or something. So I keep telling myself like next time I'm rolling by there or something and I'm like picking up, I don't know, furniture or lights or something, I'll pick up one of those and try it out. It's
Yeah.
probably delicious. Creatine didn't have a crazy bitter taste to it. So it's just like to flavor it would be nothing.
It was
Yeah,
like
you,
it's a
you yeah. Right, exactly. Yeah. So
yeah.
so I imagine the gummies would be delicious. Yeah. But that's
Cool.
it. That's all I got to say about that. I think for me, for me personally, my goals are not aligned with increasing power, for example, at the moment, or size for that matter. So, and I would maybe focus a little more personally, I would focus a little more on like VO2 max training, so a little bit more cardio output. So
Mm,
creatine is not really necessary for me. I think that I could maybe use it to help me with recovery. So in my case example, I would take it post workout
yep.
to help with that. But if I had the same dollar amount, a budget to spend, and I had the choice of creatine or something else, me, myself, right now, I would pick up a greens powder instead
Mm,
because of my general health goals. Greens will help digestion. It will rebalance your pH levels in your body, and it'll kind of help your body break down all of the food that you are consuming better. So
yep.
for general health, all I'm saying is there are other supplements. You don't need to take creatine. Don't feel like you're missing the bandwagon here if you don't. There are
Cool.
great benefits to it, but not detrimental.
Amazing. Cool. So just so everyone, like, you don't have to take creatine. You definitely can. There's ways to optimize it, before, after a workout, even types of workouts that would make it more optimal to take it. If you are going to take it, make it a daily occurrence. It needs some consistency to
Yeah, yeah,
build.
consistency.
But yeah, but you're not missing anything if you don't take it, but it is one of the most like reputable supplements that you could use. So there's maybe some merit to why this
Yeah,
trend has been popping
yeah.
up again, and it will probably continue to pop up every few years.
Yes, creatine monohydrate, you know you don't need the crazy refined, more expensive versions. You can just get the plain Jane ones, just find a reputable brand. Yes. Okay, so the next part of the segment is our Fluffy to Buffy series, where the star of the show is this guy right here, where Corey's on his personal wellness journey, and we're coaching him through it. And we decided to make this transparent for you guys to see his week-to-week progress. So yeah, I'll kick things off. Corey, what did we learn from? So last week, I guess, we assigned you workouts through the app that I utilize for training, and our main goal was for you to regulate your protein intake.
Yep.
What did you learn from this past week? What worked? What didn't work for you?
Yes. So one thing I learned was I already knew off the bat before even starting to track that I was going to struggle to hit my protein goal. So for people to remember, 180 grams per day was my goal. So literally after we had our podcast, I went out and I bought protein powder because I knew I was like, I'm going to need this if I'm going to hit it. And this has held true. There's even been a few days where I've missed it off by like 20 grams or something like that. I think yesterday was a perfect, or maybe not yesterday, maybe the day before was a perfect example where I missed it by like 20 grams. But I've definitely made it a bit more focused. I've tried to start adding things that make it a little bit easier, kind of like we were talking last time, like add 10 grams here, add 10 grams there with like different beans, lentils, all that sort of stuff, Greek yogurt, like,
Yes.
things like that. It's
Bits and bobs.
yeah, yes, that's right. So I think the hardest thing, and I've always known this about like fitness and wellness, like the nutrition part has always been the most difficult part. The training, like I love training, and so like doing the training and kind of getting that going, like I found the workouts like awesome, great. Like I enjoyed them, no problem. Hit the 3 for the week. Did done my running, one more long run tomorrow. Did my one hockey, skipped hockey on Wednesday
Nice.
to like make sure that we bring that stress load down. But it's the nutrition that's the hardest. Like I don't mind tracking my food, all that sort of stuff, but like it is a very eye-opening experience where um and I think you mentioned it, sometimes you're like you kind of feel kind of crappy when you miss it, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, I think that's has been the most challenging thing for me is just making sure that I hit it because I don't want always to be dependent on having to take like multiple protein shakes per day. Like I'm trying to see how can I right now I'm like
Totally
two a day, two
incorporate it. Yeah,
yeah, I'm two a day. I'm like how do I now bring that into my meals better?
right.
So
I think
yeah,
that's a great personal goal as well because I am a big advocate of whole foods and for supplements to only act as supplementary things, not to
yes,
overtake it the other way.
yeah,
We are humans. We should be eating real foods for the majority of the time. That said, I mean, there's a scale to this, right? So I think, oh, this is a great topic to discuss. A lot of people categorize food as like good and bad food. And
yes,
I don't see it as two buckets of good and bad. I see it as a sliding scale where the farthest end of that is low nutritional context and fast. So it carries the most convenience and the least amount of good nutrients for you. And then that scale goes to the far, far end where it is the least convenient, meaning it takes the longest time to prep, but is the most nutritionally dense.
right,
And to hit the farthest right side of that scale is near impossible if you're a professional, if you're an adult with responsibilities, right? And you have things on your plate, no pun intended. You have other things on your plate.
right,
So you're always going to land in the middle of that scale. And it's fine to drift a little bit to the left where it's convenience, and then drift a little bit to the right where it is more nutritionally dense and less convenient. And just play within that. What's important is to try to strike those goals and balance out the nutrients as far as what's getting into your body. But the reality is if you're out and about and the discussion is, I have a Mars bar or a protein bar. Both are convenient. Have a protein bar because at least it carries you through a little bit better nutritionally. Just as equally convenient. No one is arguing that there's zero artificial stuff in a protein bar. Yes, there is. There's also a lot of artificial stuff in the Mars bar. However, the
right,
protein bar will give you a little bit more nutrient density. So pick the frickin' protein bar.
right.
Right. So,
Fair.
yeah, if you can get a tuna melt, get a tuna melt. But if there's no time for the tuna melt, get the protein bar. So wherever you land on that scale is fine, right? It's just don't think about it as like produce, fabricated foods, bad. Anything packaged, bad. You
Yeah,
know, everything organic, good. It's not that. It's about just that scale, and you live on that scale. Move up and down. Be a flexible human being.
I like that
Um,
too. Cool.
I want to pinpoint that I'm looking at Cory's stats here over the last 4 days, not including today. So we're recording this on Friday. Monday to Thursday, he averaged 180 grams of protein on the dot, which is perfect. Cory, if you want to stick a screen grab afterwards, you can. I can probably send it to you too, honestly, from my
Sick.
standpoint. Actually, I'll do that. Bang. Then we carry him over into his training. So we discussed the fact that Cory's prepping for a marathon, so we got to kind of save his joints. I assigned you a workout too late, and I know that you did one workout without me. So
Yes.
this week will be the first full week.
Yes.
What we have for Cory is an upper body that is more heavy. So it'll be a push and pull combination workout. What we mean by heavy is that these are, for those of you in the know, compound movements, more complicated movements, multi-joint movements, where Cory is focused on heavier lifts in general. It's a little bit more stress on the muscle. We're doing longer rests. The reason we're doing longer rests is to allow his nervous system to calm down a little bit. Something that we talked about was kind of re-regulating his metabolism
Yeah.
and overall his hormonal profile. He's probably under, his cortisol levels are probably really high from all of the running. Cortisol is the stress hormone and a lot of working, round the clock work and stuff like that, lots of high pressure meetings. So we shouldn't put our workout and make him stressed out from the workout. And the way we mitigate that is we get him to lift heavy and rest a lot. Our second day is a lower body heavy day. And then our third day is an upper body but accessory day. This is all of the stuff that is a little bit lighter on the body. This is the only faster paced workout that we have where he has slightly shorter rests.
Yeah.
Things are packaged together. It's things like shoulders, arms, abs, that kind of stuff. All the fluffy little things. So really he has two heavy lifting sessions a week, and then the third one is a little bit more accessory based. I think I would like you to go through these workouts again this week. Now that
Yep.
you've felt two out of the three of those, go through it again. You're going to optimize now your lower body day because you've already done it. So you will in the app be shown your previous week's weights.
Oh, cool.
Within your warm-ups, always match it. So the first set, just match the same thing. And then for your second, third, and fourth set, and so on and so forth, try to beat it, even if it's by 5 pounds or something like that. Just see if you can kind of optimize that a little bit better, right? If it was already maximum strain, don't worry about it. You're good. Just keep it the same. Just make it a little bit more comfortable. So basically, just get a little more out of that workout where you know what to expect. We're not going to change reps. We're not going to change anything like that for the time being. Okay.
Sweet. Sounds good.
How are we doing for time? 20 minutes on the dot. Okay, great. The other thing, sorry to wrap this segment up, is we're going to get Cory to now upload his photo and get a weigh-in. The reason we do a weigh-in, for those of you listening, I don't use weight overall as a performance metric of any sort. 180 pounds can look incredibly good or incredibly shitty depending on how much muscle you're carrying, right? So
Yeah.
180 pounds just in silo means nothing to me. What weight simply means for me is it's a trend analysis. So if we're trying to lean Cory down, which we talked about, like he's kind of happy with his muscle mass overall, we will be trying to lean him down while maintaining muscle mass. So in theory, we will be dropping weight. If we were trying to gain muscle, we would probably be looking for a slight increase in weight on that scale week over week.
Right.
If we're trying to change his overall body composition, which is the trickiest to measure, we would be looking for a steady weight trajectory. So we're looking for a trend of a flatness as far as weight and an increase in strength components within his workout. So yeah, just know that weight is simply a measurement of trend analysis, not even progress. The real progress is going to be in his strength and in the way he looks. So the before and afters, honestly.
Hey everyone, we are now in our last segment here. Nik is in full zen. This is touch grass or touch green, whatever you want to, whatever, touch greenery, whatever feels right to you. This is where we ground ourselves and we talk about, our week as entrepreneurs, as adults, as men, as working professionals, and talk about our wins or challenges that have happened throughout the week. So Nik, do you wanna kick us off here with a win or a challenge that's happened to you this week?
Yeah, there were so many.
Nice.
So many. Okay, let's start with the fact that last week I talked about removing a commitment in the morning on Monday, allowing me to have a little bit of that morning. That was fantastic. That was such a good adjustment. I'm looking forward to that again. Last weekend I had my parents over, so that Monday morning felt a lot like recovery and realignment rather than like being on it.
Mm-hmm.
Con of that, it kind of sucked that I wasn't able to like switch into gear as soon as I would like to. But I feel like that morning was so needed to realign myself so that the week didn't feel like it was running me. I still set the tone a little bit, which was great. I'm happy. I'm excited to build off that.
Nice.
A challenge for me. I act as well on the side, and this week I got pummeled with auditions, and I still have stuff that I need to get out into the world. And so we're talking like four I completed on one day, and I have three more to do before Sunday ends. So it's for a Monday deadline,
Gotcha.
which definitely sometimes corrupts my schedule and my to-dos. And so in terms of my business side of things, I still managed to get some pitch sessions out and to get some documents completed. But I think the challenge for me was in such a chaotic week where you have your regularly scheduled programming, you have your ambitious stuff, and then you have these curveballs. Just the amount of curveballs that were thrown my way seemed to not completely derail, but definitely overwhelmed me. And I need to figure out a way to still get the ambitious projects done. And I'm wondering if that is a realignment of schedule just a little bit more. Maybe I need a couple more hours freed up. So I'm just measuring that out right now. That's kind of where I'm at the moment.
Cool.
Um, I have another thing, but I'll let you say your thing first.
Yeah, well, it's actually a question about your thing because
Oh,
one thing I want to do is like this is where we're just like real and honest, right? About like
yeah,
our
yeah,
week,
yeah,
our lives
totally.
and stuff.
Yeah.
So last week you said, one of the things like your challenge or your failure was that you didn't get to your LinkedIn strategy for
Yes.
your corporate wellness. And so did you get to that this week or is that still a struggle?
It's still on the to-do list, and that's part of the unscheduled 5 auditions that came through,
Yeah.
or I guess more than that. It's 7 in total. It's still on the to-do list, so I'm hoping to get that done tonight. And if not, it's going to be over the weekend. Now, the benefit is that this weekend my parents are not here, so I'm not entertaining, so I can just lock myself in a room and catch
Yes.
up. So I am confident that I can actually get it done now.
Nice.
But it is a huge frustration of mine that I couldn't get to do it. The only remedy to me feeling a little more calm about that is that I ended up getting a lead out of this week and pushed. It took priority because the lead was a direct kind of sales conversation that could occur
Right.
over the LinkedIn content, which will develop leads over a long period of time.
Yeah.
Uh, so I needed to just reprioritize a little bit on that. But yeah, I mean, that's one of my shortcomings.
Yeah.
Was it a complete nullified week? No, but I didn't hit the thing that I said that I needed to do, so I have to recover out of that this weekend.
And also,
Yeah.
one really quick side note, I think it would be really cool one day if you find a fun audition. I'd love to see a live audition on this podcast of like something, like a role you really like loved auditioning for. If you're allowed to.
I'm
Sometimes you're
not
not allowed
allowed
to.
to. I'm not allowed
Okay,
to.
can I
Everything is under embargo. The only time I can ever do that is if the show has already been released,
mm,
and then I go back, usually like a year, because the lead time, like by the time the show is filmed, it'll take like 4 or 5 months, and then it's in post production, and then it's marketing, and then it's released. So it's usually a year and a half.
interesting.
Um, and by that time, that file is buried beneath many more auditions. Really tough to do. Really
Cool.
tough
Then
to do.
we might make one up and get people to see because they're seeing like a live coaching aspect of you. I'd also love them to eventually see like the live acting
A
of you.
live acting? Okay,
Yeah,
all
I
right.
don't know what
We'll
that looks
talk about it.
like.
I
Yeah,
have
we
no idea how that looks like either. That sounds chaotic, but we'll
chaos
talk about it. We'll talk about it.
live suggestion on the podcast.
Yeah,
Anyways,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'll go to me. Wins
Yeah.
and challenges for me this week. I'll start with the win because it was actually very fresh.
Yeah.
And I apologize. A lot of my wins like lately have been like very business related, but they're just very apparent. So,
Yeah.
but win this week closed a really great and fun project this week, which was awesome. So it's a cybersecurity space. Never worked in this space before, but closed the project literally yesterday, and it felt really good. It's been a little while since I closed my last project, and like that's just the sales cycles of like what I do, but it just feels good when you close one and people are excited to work with you. They're pumped
Yeah.
about the work you've done, and so that was a huge win for me yesterday. I just felt really good. Yeah, kind of celebrated yesterday, then got back to today, and today's day zero again. You start again, and you look for
Nice.
that for the next win. But that was a big win for me this week. In terms of challenges, yeah. So I don't know how deep into this I'll actually get, but one of the hardest things with building a business with other people is having hard conversations with other people. And
Mm.
so this week we, as my other business partners, we've had some harder conversations this week as we've been going and working on a new partnership with a venture studio, which I can't name yet, but I will in a future episode for sure. But usually when conversations around like, ownership, dilution, future value, current value, those are all really, really difficult conversations. And we had a couple of those this week, and it's a little bit draining. And I've learned to be a lot better when having those conversations with people. Like I used to be someone that avoided conflict. I didn't really like the friction. still don't really enjoy it. I don't think anyone really enjoys conflict, but you just learn to realize that it's sometimes a very necessary part of life. So I think that's been a challenge for this week is having those conversations with two people I consider not only business partners but also great friends. And so you're trying to balance between, your friendship and then your business relationship as well too. And you need to make sure that one doesn't completely sever the other, right?
Hmm.
Because that's one thing I've always said. I'm happy to work with people that I really enjoy, like friends and stuff like that. But if it ever gets to a point where I feel like my relationship with those people, like friendship wise, it's gonna suffer at the expense of this business venture that we're working on, then I don't want to do it. That's
Mm.
I have a line for myself, and it's for me, my friendships are generally more important than any business that I could be working on. I'd rather just try to figure something else out. So that hasn't gone to that point with with our business, but just some tough conversations, sometimes when you're talking about the value that someone brings or the value that other people bring. Value sometimes can be difficult to quantify, especially when you're talking about what value could occur. You can talk about stuff you have done that can infer things that can occur, but not always true, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. So anyways, I think that's pretty much it. I don't want to. Those are some private conversations and stuff like that, so I won't bring the details about that. But just
No,
overall, those are exhausting conversations.
yeah, for sure. I think I just had a conversation with another entrepreneur about value and overall relationships. So his frustration that he voiced was that a lot of people seem to not want to build a relationship first and want a transactional relationship first.
Mm,
And I said that that is sort of evolutionary for efficiency because the higher up the food chain you get, the less time people have. And so they need to understand what value you are getting from a interaction. And then through that interaction, assuming it is successful and there's numerous more interactions, they may trust you with more time. And then
yep.
through that, there is a trust relationship that gets built, and then perhaps a friendship that develops or not. But at the very least, through that track record, their time is not wasted or minimally wasted. Versus if you get to know someone on a very, very purely on a social level and they don't make your life any better. There was a lot of investment of time up front that didn't carry over into something else. This particular person was having a very, very tough time with that. And
Mm,
the kind of conversation that I was saying was like, I think it sounds, one, you need to detach your ego. It's not really about your feelings. They don't see it that way. They
yep.
are looking at their time. And what I suggested was that what you can do is you can voice your value that you offer a little bit more clearly. The challenge is you have to disconnect your ego from that in the sense of like you have to come at it with a service attitude rather than a
I
you should
deserve this attitude.
yeah you should be happy that I am in your life, and that's typically sets you up for success a little bit better. The tricky thing is that there needs to be a little bit of ego balancing it out, because when you come to someone and say this is what I can provide for you, there also needs to be an equal amount of ego to say that I can in fact provide this for you and I am worthy
Correct.
of this, and it's that balancing act. It's
Yeah,
tough. It's really tough.
it is. It is. And I think I've had several of these conversations now over the last year and a half, 2 years. And so you learn how to better articulate yourself in those
Yeah,
situations that, you don't come off as, an asshole, but you also don't
yeah.
come off as soft and not being able to show your value in a
Well,
kind and confident way, right?
the flip side of it is you voice your value. Perceived value is a completely different thing, and what you think your value is may not be as highly regarded by somebody else. And you may be able to change that perspective,
Yep.
but you may not. And if you can't change that perspective, that relationship may not foster. Either you need to go back and you need to upgrade your value proposal, or that relationship just may not foster and occur. And it is kind of the nature of things, right? It got me thinking. I think the only situations where you can afford favoring personality before a work arrangement is and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but in a corporate setting, because you are paid a salary, and I feel like you can go for a coffee with someone and kind of like just be friendly
Right.
because it's not actually your ass on the line and it's not actually you writing the check for their salary.
Yeah.
So don't mind vouching for someone's personality, so to speak, right?
Yep.
Versus in an entrepreneurial sphere, every hour meeting has a dollar cost and your reputation's online with if you bring someone into your circle, you need to trust that person because if they mess up, your entire empire could collapse real quick.
So yeah, so that was my week. That was your week. Good wins, good challenges, but this is the real life. Uh
Yeah,
Two guys that are building businesses, working,
yeah.
and trying to manage our relationships and everything like that.
Hey, thanks for tuning in and thanks for listening. Please feel free to give us a like or a review or a comment on whatever platform you found us on. And if you want to send Cory or I a direct message if something you found was super relatable, give us a shout on our socials. We'll put them in the description below. Thanks again for listening in and tuning in to Build and Breathe.